Good morning. If people will please find their seats. Good morning again, and welcome back from the break. My name is Judy Cole, and I'm the Executive Vice President and CEO of the Alumni Association. I am delighted to provide the welcome to our association's president for fiscal year 2016, John Chisholm. Each year brings a new Alumni Association president and a new opportunity to work with and learn from our volunteer leadership. As I'm sure you've already concluded, John is an energetic partner, driven and extraordinarily committed to the work of the association and the Institute. This morning, he will provide you, his fellow alumni, with an update of the work of the association in the past year and a look ahead to what is to come in the next year. Please join me in welcoming John Chisholm.
Judy, thank you so much. It has been an absolute delight working with Judy and our capable AA staff this last year. What do you say we give them a round of applause? In addition to that, we have a special guest with us today, my boss's boss, Chairman of the MIT Corporation, Bob Millard. Bob, welcome. It is an honor to be here with you, our greatest volunteers, to our alumni community, to our association, and to MIT. Thank you all for what you've done and continue to do for and with our fellow alumni. How many here are here at ALC for the first time? Wonderful, delighted. How many in the MIT 10 community? Okay, how many in Cardinal and Gray? All right, and how many here were graduate student exclusives, which we call GSEs? Delighted. Okay, great. And how many are award winners tonight or in previous years? All right, let's acknowledge everybody. Well, like many of you, MIT alumni activities have been central to my life for many years, in my case, since I organized my first event for the MIT Club of Northern California 31 years ago in 1984. And two people I'd like to acknowledge who aren't here today are the two people who brought me into the Alumni Association way back then, Harbo Jensen and Bill Murray. Harbo, of course, served as president of the Alumni Association a few years ago. And they're not here, but gentlemen in spirit, thank you. Being here at ALC today similarly reflects all of your commitments to our alumni community, to our association, and to MIT. So thank you for both your commitments and willingness to serve. MIT alumni formed the most creative, thoughtful, and proactive network of which I'm privileged to be a part. The ideas, plans, and achievements of all of you and our fellow alumni constantly energize and inspire me. At the risk of sounding elitist, I feel we are part of an exclusive club, one with 132,373 members worldwide. The quality and diversity of our alumni truly make an extraordinary social network. Of our 132,000 alumni living, 52% are now graduate alumni exclusively, having their first degree from MIT being a master's or PhD. Nearly half, 47%, are graduates of the School of Engineering. 22% are women, up from 17% just a decade ago. Luckily, alumni, that is women alumni, get involved at a higher rate than their male counterparts, and so our association has much benefited from that. What is the mission of our Alumni Association? It turns out that there are different versions of it that have evolved over the decades. But as so often happens, more cooks in the kitchen do not necessarily make a better broth. For me, MIT's AA's original mission from our 1875 Constitution is the one I find most inspiring and compelling. It says, "To further the well-being of the Institute and its graduates by increasing the interest of members in the school and each other." Clear, concise. I'll repeat it. to further the well-being of the Institute and its graduates by increasing the interest of members in the school and each other. Whoever of our alumni forebears drafted these words, now lost to MIT history, understood clearly the virtuous circle between our alumni and MIT. Alumni whom we engage, deliver value to, and serve well are receptive to supporting MIT. That support builds and strengthens MIT, which in turn makes ever more valuable our affiliations with MIT and incentivizes MIT to invest in our association and in us, which further engages us and inclines us to support MIT, and so on. Alumni's sense of obligation to and desire to give back to MIT is a wonderful place to be able to start building this positive feedback loop, this virtuous circle, but I don't think we can or should rely on it alone, long term. Simply asking for money generally does not build engagement. As my capable predecessor, Don Shobris, points out, the only long-term sustainable relationships are one in which we engage, deliver value to, and well serve our alumni. Of course, virtually all of us here, our most committed alums, have both delivered value to or engaged fellow alumni and raised money from them at some point, for which all of us here and MIT are deeply grateful. But in any event, before turning to such great accomplishments as last year's record-breaking alumni annual fund, and many of you whose fundraising efforts made that possible, I'd like to first focus on how you and our association have engaged, delivered value to, and done our best to serve our fellow alumni. Before last year, my year as your president-elect, I had not realized how many programs and services you, our fellow alumni in our association, offer to deliver value to and build engagement among our alumni. Counting both online and face-to-face, there are more than 100 such programs and services, ranging from our regional clubs, to educational counselors, to reunions, to affinity groups, to the online directory and other online services. Central to that list are our 91 clubs, 14 annual reunion classes, and 11 affinity groups around the world. Together, you and our capable staff were responsible for more than 1,200 events worldwide last year. You and our staff introduced President Rife, always a significant draw, to alumni audiences in Singapore, Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, Paris, and Brazil. The Brazil trip marked the first presidential trip to that region and demonstrated a wonderful collaboration between the Sloan Club and the Alumni Club of Brazil. The event also included newly admitted students and new collaboration among local volunteers, with the ultimate outcome of a united new MIT Club of Brazil with the Sloan Club of Brazil. So congratulations in particular to Club President Ricardo Betty. Where is Ricardo? Here he is. Ricardo, thank you, who's with us today. Last year, we added 2 new clubs, the Club of Peru and the Club of Austria, and 1 new affinity group, the Experimental Study Group. These are in addition to our new clubs from FY14, the Club of Montreal and the Club of British Columbia. So congratulations to all of our new clubs. I was grateful to receive so many of your responses last month when I invited you to share photos and videos of your many successful events. From summer send-offs to incoming freshmen, to faculty, sporting, career, and social events, to the Toast to IAP, your clubs and groups provide vibrant engagement of alumni around the world. These are a few of the photos you sent in, and you will see more of them during and between the breaks. 14 classes had reunions in June, at which more than 3,200 alumni and friends enjoyed 4 days of celebration around 169 events. The class of 2005 set a new record for a 10th reunion with 207 alumni attending. And the reunions were many and varied, featuring innovations like TED Talks that spotlighted extraordinary alumni like Drew Houston from the Houston from the 10th reunion, founder of Dropbox, and to the 50th reunion alum Ralph Cicerone, president of the National Academy of Sciences. The class of 70 featured a pop-up gallery showcasing the amazing artwork of the class. Beyond that are our pie and mole reunions in Las Vegas. The pie reunion is, of course, 3.14 years, or approximately mid-July, 3 years after graduation. Just to refresh your memory of freshman physics, a mole is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. So the mole reunion should really be called 1 over 10 to the 23rd of a mole reunion, since it takes place approximately 6 years after graduation. 15 years ago, the class of 97 hosted the first pie reunion in Las Vegas, 3.14 years after their graduation. The class of 2012 continued the pie tradition in Las Vegas this July, and the class of 2009 also celebrated their mole reunion the same weekend in Las Vegas. The class of 2012 set an attendance record for their pie reunion with 470 alumni and guests. I wish we could do as well at our reunions here. And the 2009 mole reunion had a robust attendance with 43 alumni and guests. The pie reunions continue to grow each year. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the class of 2004, who under the leadership of President Atif Kadir, is Atif here in the audience anywhere? Well, who held quarterly class dinners in New York City and Los Angeles last year. It's a great model for other classes in non-reunion years. More than 5,000 alumni serve as MIT educational counselors. Last year, they conducted over 14,000 interviews for MIT, from which 1,473 students were admitted. Just for fun, here's some statistics. We had, entering the class of the fall class of 2019, 14 Sarahs and 14 Christophers, along with one set of triplets, Christopher, Claire, and Edward Gould from Newport Beach, California. And also this year, a change in the Educational Council staff in the MIT reunion office. Alumna Kim Hunter, class of 86, transitioned from her prior role as director of the Educational Council there and joined the staff of the Alumni Association in her new role as director of alumni outreach, while another alumna, Suzanne Driscoll-Plump, class of 89, took the helm of the Educational Council. So welcome to both Kim and Suzanne in their new roles. Are they here? Are they here anywhere? Okay, all right. Great. The programs and services our association provides is constantly evolving with the times and growing. In March, in an effort to meet alumni where they are, we held a reception at the popular South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas. Many MIT alumni were speakers and attendees at the conference, and more than 150 alumni attended the reception. This year, we experimented with alumni as speakers on Google Hangouts in the Faculty Forum Online Alumni Edition. Unconstrained by geography, alumni who are faculty at different institutions shared their insights on such topics as teaching after Course 6 and innovations in MOOCs. The lineup of events with alumni faculty continues monthly through this year, and which you can find by going online to alum.mit.edu and clicking on Learn. You can also view the archived sessions there. In addition, we've ramped up MIT video for alumni. For Aero Astro's 100th anniversary this year, our association created space shorts, which present our many alumni astronauts and their incredible stories from outer space. We collected Reunion Access Memories, or RAM, the series of alumni videos during reunions. We've used these videos to reach out to students, young alumni, and others, and you can find them on the association's YouTube channel. Last year, in response to alumni requests, we launched free alumni access to 2 scholarly journals, JSTOR, that's the Journal Storage Library, founded in 1985, and EBSCO, the Elton B. Stevens Company Online Research Database. Access to JSTOR alone, if purchased by alumni individually, would cost around $200 per year, so this is a terrific benefit. You can find it online at the association website in the Benefits and Services section. Under the leadership of Senior Director Christine Tempesta, our capable staff continuously evaluates new software as a service and mobile apps. This month, we are releasing not one, but two, count them, two new mobile apps. The first one is the MIT ALC 2010 app, and as I said yesterday, if you've not already done so, please go ahead to the app or Google Play Store and download the app to your iPhone or Android. It contains a complete calendar of ALC activities, and it's the way that I've been keeping on track and seeing when and where and what is happening when. This is an experimental app that we haven't yet planned to roll out to the entire alumni base. One of its features, as you know, for those who've used it, is it enables alumni to find other ALC alumni who share their interests and passions, whether professional or personal, based on LinkedIn profiles. The ALC app also lets you create a personalized schedule to meet other ALC attendees with similar interests to yours. How many have downloaded the ALC 2015 website app? Wonderful, delighted. Well, in addition to that app is a second mobile app called the MIT Alumni Quad. MIT Alumni Quad was released this summer and is not limited to ALC. Wherever you are in the world, this app shows you MIT or MIT Club events nearby, ideal if you're traveling or if you get stood up for a date at the last minute. A feature of MIT Alumni Quad called Class Ring lets you let fellow alums know that you've got a job to fill or to find someone to introduce you to someone at a particular company. It'll also show you alumni nearby who are using the app and who have enabled the geolocation feature. Finally, it presents a news feed about MIT that is tailored to what it recognizes as your interests based on which news items you have previously clicked on. So both the MIT ALC app and MIT Alumni Quad help alumni connect with each other and with MIT. How many have already downloaded the MIT Quad website, mobile app? Okay, great. Well, that's something to do that you can use even after ALC. Once many alumni have downloaded the app, clubs and classes can leverage the check-in feature of Alumni Quad to allow participants to let others know they've arrived and can easily post comments about the event on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. If you want to learn more or get help with either app, drop into the Web and Mobile Services Help Center this afternoon from 1 to 4 p.m. in private dining room 1 in the Stratton Student Center. Last but not least, let me talk about fundraising, the other half of the positive feedback loop between all of us and MIT. Thanks to tremendous efforts of you and our other volunteers, our Alumni Fund Board and staff, fiscal year 2015 was also a record-breaking year, raising $70 million for the annual fund. Well, okay, I'm rounding up from $69,530,261. Hey, that rounds to $70 million. Let's, how about a round of applause for that? That amount is up 10% over the prior year and was raised from a record 45,006 donors. Yet again, the Senior Gift Committee achieved a new record as well for senior participation, with 87% of the class making a gift, marking a decade of record-breaking achievements for graduating seniors. Thank you and congratulations to all who contributed to this milestone. Speaking of participation, the annual fund supported an exciting new initiative for Sloan graduates. Challenged by Sloan alumna Judy Luent, Master's 72, Sloan and the Alumni Fund used our new crowdfunding platform, which I'll say more about in just a moment, to raise alumni participation. They exceeded their goal of 4,000 Sloan donors and raised nearly $500,000. So well done, Sloan and others who were involved in that initiative. The prospect management tool helps fundraising volunteers contact and track gifts among their assigned prospects. This year it was enhanced with volunteer-requested reporting features, including a downloadable personal progress report and the solicitor activity report, comparing progress across solicitors for each fundraising initiative. This fall we'll release a similar outreach tool for reunion volunteers. And last year, the annual fund, as I mentioned, implemented a new crowdfunding portal, crowdfund.mit.edu, where campus clubs, groups, and initiatives can raise visibility and financial support. It's been used by the MIT robotics team, Terrascope, and the Climate CoLab to reach and exceed their fundraising goals already. In fact, it was just 75 years ago this year, in December 1940, that alumni established the annual fund. Since then, the annual fund has made a major impact on MIT, of which we can all be proud. Look for more announcements and events coming our way this December as we celebrate the annual fund's 75th anniversary. Now, beyond helping build and maintain the virtuous circle between MIT and alumni that I mentioned, MIT Alumni Association has taken on many other important tasks for MIT. We, our association, enlist alumni to mentor and provide internships and externships for students. We help the departments, labs, and centers across campus reach out to their alumni and friends. And we support the friends of MIT, namely the parents of current students, postdoctoral students, widows, widowers, and donor friends who have no prior relationship with the Institute, but who nonetheless want to stay or become part of MIT. In serving parents, we manage the Parents Association, conduct family weekend, recruit and support parent volunteers, and much more. Our online outreach and social media has won many awards. The holiday card, the electronic holiday card that President Reif sent out to alumni was recognized by the Council for Advancement and Support of Education, or CASE. Also winning a CASE award was the March Madness Tournament of Hacks, a popular series of posts on the Slice of MIT that went viral on Facebook and Twitter. This year, our association board of directors has had a special focus on increasing engagement of graduate alumni. My capable successor, President-elect Nicholas Shamas, who's sitting right here, yes, let's acknowledge Nicholas. You'll be hearing more from him next year. Together with MIT AA Director Steve Baker, are leading a board committee, the program committee, to do just that, to figure out how we can best engage our graduate alumni in our alumni activities and with MIT, and they now comprise 52% of our alumni base. So I'm excited about what your findings will be, Nicholas. The first MIT Solve event will take place October 5 through 8. Solve is a joint initiative between MIT and Technology Review that invites extraordinary people to work together to find solutions to the extraordinary hard problems facing our global community: energy, food, water, and education. With a healthy skepticism for conventional top-down solutions, Solve convenes technologists, business leaders, policymakers, and others to explore new ways that individuals, businesses, and civil society can self-organize to address these global concerns. Solve is part of an even larger initiative, Hub Week, a joint venture among MIT, the Boston Globe, Mass General Hospital, and one other university. Oh yeah, Harvard. Hub will be a week-long series of events and experiences taking place throughout Boston, October 3 through 10. Who can tell me what year is engraved on the front of the Great Dome? 1916, thank you. Well, of course. So 2016, and our fiscal year ending June 30th, 2016 in particular, is the centennial of the magnificent and historic Bosworth buildings that formed the original campus of MIT when it first moved from Boston to Cambridge, and which to this day still serves as the central core of MIT. I like to say that the Bosworth buildings were the internet of 1916. For the first time, different schools and departments, rather than being housed in standalone buildings, were all interconnected by common hallways. In the center of this network was a server. The Central Engineering Library, positioned under the dome to make it as accessible as possible to the entire network. I'm sorry I'm getting all choked up. This has special meaning to me. My mother, who is here somewhere, worked in the worked under the dome as a librarian in what was then the Central Engineering Library from 1945 to 1959. So I kind of grew up with it. The centennial anniversary of the Bosworth Complex will be celebrated in 2016 with events both on campus and online, including symposium, music and theater arts, performances, and an open house under the dome. The celebration will culminate with an exciting celebration on Killian Court during tech reunions. This coming year, our staff will also complete 2 major website redesigns. First, in February, we'll roll out a new giving website, giving.mit.edu. This site turns giving into an interactive experience in which you can explore and evaluate the myriad giving opportunities at MIT. Second, later in 2016, we'll launch a new site at alum.mit.edu. This site will feature customized, personalized content and streamlined access to your volunteer tools, no matter how many different volunteer roles you have. And finally, 2016, specifically Friday, Saturday, May 6 and 7, will be the kickoff of MIT's upcoming campaign. Please mark your calendars for March 6 and 7 and plan to find a way back to campus to be part of the exciting events then. Oh, what did I say? Oh, pardon me, yes, May 6 and 7, thank you. I'd like to conclude by asking, what makes an institution ethical? In my new book, Unleash Your Inner Company, I propose a definition: that which shifts a relationship, community, or the world from zero-sum towards positive-sum. Unethical is the opposite. By zero-sum, of course, I mean a situation in which one party loses when another party gains. By positive-sum, I mean one in which both parties or all parties gain. This definition doesn't capture all of what it means to be ethical, but I think rather it captures important aspects that are often overlooked, in my view. The guidance, this definition is very broad, like a compass, not a roadmap. And in chapter 26 of the book, the last chapter, I say, Research University MIT is positive-sum in one sense and zero-sum in another. Its research and developments in aerospace, architecture, aviation, communications, biology, chemistry, computing, e-commerce, electronics, energy, finance, materials, mechanics, medicine, nutrition, packaging, robotics, and transportation, since its founding in 1861, have far advanced human knowledge, spawned thousands of companies, and satisfied many new dimensions of human needs. That is highly positive sum. At the same time, like any elite university, it is zero sum. The size of each freshman class is limited to about 1,050, and the number of applicants is over 17 times that number, meaning that for any freshman admitted, many others are turned away. But MIT is shifting even education from zero sum to positive sum. Starting in 2002, OpenCourseWare made lecture notes for most MIT courses free to anyone online. In 2011, MIT expanded OCW to full courses with MITx. To convey the magnitude of this impact, when the first MITx course, Circuits and Electronics, went live in 2012, more than 154,000 enrolled, and over 7,000 passed the course, as many as taken and passed this core electrical engineering course in the preceding 40 years at MIT. Later in 2012, MIT further expanded MITx by partnering with Harvard and forming edX. Today, edX is one of many free online learning resources that include Khan Academy, Coursera, Udacity, and Codecademy. These initiatives make MIT, Khan, and others highly ethical institutions by my definition. I am deeply proud to be part of what meets my definition of a highly ethical institution. I hope and trust that you are as well. Thank you again for all that you do for our fellow alumni, our association, and for MIT. Looking forward to a fun, exciting, and rewarding year with you. Thank you. We have some time for questions, and I'd like Executive VP Judy Cole to come up and join me, because there will be lots of questions she can answer that I can't answer.
Maybe.
Anyone? How much time do we have for questions? 8 minutes.
If you pre-order your book, it's going to be out October 8th. Amazon will send it to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love your definition of ethical. And so my question is on an issue that's very important to me, and I think to all of us, which is climate change. And how can MIT be more ethical, by your definition, in helping the world deal with this really critical issue?
Gosh, I'll offer some thoughts, and Judy might have more thoughts. I don't know what more we could be doing. It seems to me there are so many initiatives already underway in so many departments and schools, cross-disciplinary, lots of collaborations. So I feel very good and proud about what MIT is already doing. I'm sure there's always more we could be doing, of course. But I feel good about what we're already doing.
I think that the creation of edX and MITx was a large step in that direction, in an effort to try and make an MIT education accessible to people who might not be able to come to campus or might not be able to actually get in or afford MIT. And so I think that that's a first step in the direction, and I think as you see that grow, you'll see more and more of increase in the ethical capital, if you will, of MIT.
Just to follow up on that question, it's not necessarily in terms of climate change what we're doing for the world, but what are we actually doing on campus to minimize pollution, food waste, energy conservation, et cetera?
So I don't remember exactly when it was that Julie Newman was hired, but we have a staff person on staff at the Institute who is responsible for environmental sustainability at MIT. And she is partnering with many different parts of the Institute to try and improve our practices around that. I can't do a deep dive into exactly what the programs are, but we have at least added an environmental sustainability czar who is trying to pay attention to those things.
What are your thoughts? Can you hear me? What are your thoughts about the current issues with segments of our political environment not respecting science and not taking facts as facts, and the leading of certain segments of our population to discount science to a degree I've never seen before? Having recently retired and moved from Massachusetts to another area of the country where science is not respected, what are your thoughts on what MIT might be able to do to help?
Well, I'll let you take the first shot at that one, John.
I'm reading a really good book right now. I'm about a third of the way through it. It's called The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt, I believe is the author. Maybe, is anyone familiar with it? And it provides great insight about why we humans hold whatever opinions we do. Talks about the different parts of the brain, how part of it is like an elephant and part of it is like the rider on the elephant. I won't go into detail, but it's giving the insight, and it's one resource I'd recommend on that question.
I would add that the Legislative Advocacy Group of the Alumni Association was created to at least affect that thinking within our federal government. And so what alumni could do if they want to enhance the appreciation for the importance and validity of science would be to join the Legislative Advocacy Group and get regular updates from our Washington office about the issues that are coming before the federal government that might be of concern to MIT alumni. It's not a lobbying group or anything like that. It's just inviting people to keep themselves informed through our Washington, D.C. office and to exercise their rights as individual citizens. And you can opt into that group on our website through the affinity group page.
Milton Roy, class of 78. We are MIT, so we definitely believe in quality over quantity. That said, there was a tremendous forum last night with the deans from the 5 schools, and the question was asked, what keeps you up at night? And one of the answers was the tremendous amount of money going into the H school, we don't mention that name, and the S school on the West Coast to build the departments of engineering. And you're talking about $500 to $1 billion, which also translates into growth in their alumni base. Our alumni base is limited at the undergraduate level by beds, and in graduate school by faculty heads. So as the other schools keep growing, we're going to remain quality driven, but smaller compared to them. So how can we as alumni help to increase the size of our alumni body, which as we look around the globe, will be important to maintain MIT as #1 in most everything they do. So what can we do to help?
Well, I mean, MITx, as I mentioned, is training a lot of people, many more than we have alumni from residential education. I am sure that one of the questions that our Alumni Association will grapple with and have to grapple with in coming years is how we treat these folks who have graduated from or received certifications and whatever future acknowledgments, degrees or not, that they received. Are they part of our Alumni Association? Do we create a new or special role for them. So that's one opportunity. I would like to say just one more thing about that discussion yesterday about the billions of dollars that that Harvard is investing to compete with MIT, in effect. It reminds me a bit of the difference between Silicon Valley and Route 128. And the fact is that over the last 30 years, Silicon Valley's growth rate has significantly exceeded that of Route 128. And I think it's really instructive to ask why. One of our very own, Annalise Saxenian, wrote a book about this in the early 90s called Regional Advantage. And she talked about how the ecosystem in Silicon Valley was so instrumental in its higher growth rate. Companies tended to be more smaller, more direct competition here in Route 128, Prime, Wang, Digital Equipment, IBM companies. Some companies that we don't even hear about anymore tended to be much more vertically integrated and centralized. Well, similarly, I think we don't want to discount the very significant advantage that MIT has because of our ecosystem here. It's not just one department, it's many departments. It's departments that are all interconnected thanks to the internet of 1916, and much more than that. People who collaborate with each other through centers and so forth. So I don't by any means dismiss the billions of dollars that others are investing, but I think we have a tremendous asset that we don't want to overlook in our utterly unique ecosystem and culture here at MIT.